You are listening to the Dave Sweetmore Show, and I'm joined now by one of my favourite people in music, John Power. John, how you doing, man?
Okay, not too bad. How you doing, Dave? All right?
Yeah, really good, thanks. It's great to have you on the show. It's great to speak to you, catch up with you again and stuff. You're about to start a 10-day tour, starting in Shrewsbury, finishing in Falkirk. You're in the northwest at Holmfirth and Warrington. How does it feel after the pandemic to be going back out and about on the road?
Very exotic. You know, it's something that we're all looking forward to as a band because, firstly, it's when we see each other. Even though we keep in touch, and like, you know, most importantly, it's what we do and what we do best, and it's we've missed the interaction with each other on stage and the interaction with the audiences and the soaring kind of feeling of singing and playing live. You know, it's a right that we've been part of and performing for a long time, and it's been sometimes you don't know what, you know, you don't miss it until it's gone, like, you know.
Yeah, well, your live shows are second to none. They're very, very iconic. Would you say that's been the part of the music business, if you like, that you've missed the most playing live?
Oh, totally, yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, that's the you know, I'm writing new material. I've got material that I've been sifting through, which is what the pandemic or the lockdown has given me time to do. I've gone through loads of ideas that I've had. So recording is very important once we start it. But, you know, the live performance, the theatre, the ceremony of live music and coming together, that is really, that is the DNA of the rock and roll and music business anyway, really. I mean, you know, that's where it's at these days because, you know, it's not like what it used to be where, you know, a certain charts was very important or a TV show was important. People kind of, you know, they dip into anything nowadays, and they have the capabilities of skimming, across lots of genres of music and just taking little tidbits that they like. Yeah, so live is where it's at for a lot of bands. You know, it's one of the authentic traditions. You know, it's an ancient, and futuristic thing of just performing. You know, people come together, you know, and agreeing or connecting on a level that is beyond our normal day-to-day life.
It's a great way of looking at it, that, and very, very true. So other than like writing songs and, you know, how have you kept busy during lockdown? How have you kept yourself busy?
Well, you know, the first, probably like most people, you know, the initial lockdown, I didn't know whether I'd retired without, you know, it was dead sunny the first, you know, a year ago or whatever it was, you know, and I just remember thinking everyone I knew was just having a drink of rosé in the garden or something like that, and it was just one of those sorts of, you know, at first it was a novelty, and then obviously it goes on, you know, and then it's winter, then it was that, you know, last Christmas was a disaster for a lot of people, you know, connecting with their families and missing out on loved ones and things like that. So I wasn't really writing in that period. I mean, I was just kind of, I felt a bit disillusioned with it all, a bit angry, frustrated with the state of affairs, and, you know, there's so many things to get to kind of get frustrated about, whether it was, everything's so polarized, people's opinions are extreme to one side or extreme the other, and all that kind of common ground, that reasonable, debatable place, that seems to have gone out the window. So after ranting for about 6 months to myself on the walls, I suppose I come out of it, and I started sifting through my songs in the last, I'd say this year. I did that. I wrote a song called Grounded Truth, which was used for an Adidas kind of ad, the special thing. And I did a little documentary where that was recorded in Abbey Road, and they filmed it, and it was like narrated by myself over this little 6-minute documentary. Now that got me kind of going again, because I wrote this little song. I released it on a little digital format, on digital formats, and I've been doing interviews, and that was, say a month or two before this conversation now, and that kind of got me going again, in the sense of, right, okay, got all these songs and ideas that I've had, and been writing and finishing, and so I've kind of got an album that I'm going to record with Cass, which is very much Cass, and it's full circle. I've gone full circle, and where I've ended up is the space between All Change and the Lars. There's a piece of land there that I've never ploughed, and that's where I want to. That's what I want the next album to be. Somewhere in between that. So I've got all these ideas and songs written for that, which are very specific and they have a true identity. That's what that album's going to be. And then also I've got all these other songs which are maybe more a bit like Grounded Truth, a bit more folky, or maybe a bit more soul-y, or a bit more relaxed, which could be more a solo kind of concept or something. So I'm basically, after these shows and after the end of summer, which if we ever get summer, is I'm going to start recording, and I think I'm going to have 2 projects on the go. And but the good, beautiful thing about it all is I've got all the songs now. I know, and I've gone through it all. It's not just going to be I'm going to go in the studio and see what I've got. I have a definite thing for cast, and if I get it right, it's going to be, it may be, not Swan thing, but it'll be. If I do this album right, then I don't know if I'll do another album with cast. Not that the band wouldn't continue playing, but if I get this right, then I won't. I'll just go. That's the circle completed. That I've gone full circle. We've gone right round, and we've come right back to the space between where we stood, and it's dead exciting because I've got, as I said, these rhythms that were very important to me in the Lars, and I've got the songs that I wrote with cast. And I just want to slightly, I think when I first had this idea, I would have, over the previous years, I haven't really explored that and investigated it because I kept them slightly separate. Well, now I'm kind of just going to go, well, this rhythm is more maybe like when I was playing bass, but it's a very much a cast song, I don't want to parody either of the bands. I just want to find, as I said, this space between the two, and is where I straddle between my past experiences. So that's dead exciting for me because I really feel I'm onto something here. I'm getting the band geared up about it, and I'm talking to people about it. And I actually have the songs. I've demoed about 6 of them. I've got about another 6 or 7, and they're all of the same vein. There'll be a kind of a constitution that runs right through it, and that they'll feel of the same ilk, which is very important, I think, as opposed to just having a big group of really nice songs, but they might be very dissimilar in their outlook and that. And then obviously I've got the solo stuff, so that's where I'm at. That's what I've been doing all pretty much this last 5 months or whatever it is, 6 months. And I'm quite excited. I just want to get out and play with the band.
Do you
want to
know
reconnect with the audience? Go on.
As a fan of your work and as a fan of the band as well, it does sound dead exciting, this music that you're going to be bringing out, and it's great to hear that you genuinely sound really excited about it as well.
Yeah, I do. And I think, as I said, like Kicking Up the Dust, our previous album, I mean, there's some really, really good songs on it. They're all good songs, but the whole process of putting that album, it started as should we go in the studio and do 3 songs? I've got an old demo I found, and so we went in, and then it was like, well, we've got 3, so we do another couple, maybe we can get an EP, and then once you get to 5, I start thinking, well, maybe we could get an album here. So I was writing in the studio, I was pulling out ideas that I had, but I didn't have a kind of vision of what I wanted. I just was writing and putting bits and bobs together, and there's some beautiful songs. And there's some really, uptown ones, a bit slower ones, slowly. It's a nice group of songs. But this, I turned my back on maybe because I didn't want to, when I left the Lars, I didn't want to go, I didn't want to get that rhythm going in with what I was doing because I didn't want to parody it. I wanted to draw a line between the 2 bands and give the band cast their own identity and the players within cast the chance to express themselves too. Now what I feel is I've come right round and I'm standing in that space between the 2 bands. It's not going to be, I'm not saying it's anything like a Lars album, but I'm definitely, me of all people on the planet, I have got that feel, that rhythm going because that's what I learned to play. That's how I learned to play. So I want to bring them rhythms into the songwriting and into the band's expression. Which I think in the past I would have said, okay, no, I'll just keep it maybe 4/4 on here, or I'll keep this rhythm, foot to the floor. Where now I feel it's got to go rock and roll. It's got to have that skipping rock and roll feel. It's got to be up tempo. It's got to make you feel uplifted. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm going to try and do. And that's what I am doing. It's going to be big, acoustic, uplifting rock and roll, but with Cast kicking the door down, you know what I mean?
Do you know what? It's 4 years since you brought out Kicking Up the Dust, and one of the questions I was going to ask you was about new music. So the way you've just spoke about it, so excited to hear it, honestly. Can't wait. Have you any idea when we can expect that, John?
Well, I'd like to start making plans to record. To be honest with you, the minute, I'd say we're now August, I'd say once it gets to September, I need a week in the studio demoing the final 5, 6, 7. I just need to hit them back, and I also need to have them in a certain type of shape so that when I present them and when the rest of the lads hear them, they don't go, oh, I know, this goes over there. No, it doesn't go over there. It stays over there. But now we work with that sort of, that this is where it is, and I've got that. I've got reference points that I can use. I'm not going to say them to you because they're really great albums. So, but I have an idea of how I want it to be a modern day classic of all the influences that I've had. But most importantly, as I said, I want to do this album. I want it to be, if I get it right, as I said, it'll be great for Cast because it'll be something. I don't know, is it your swan song? It'll be like a final piece of something. And who knows where we go from there? I mean, we're always going to be performing. We're always going to be getting up there. But it takes a lot of energy, a lot of focus to do something that I want to do. And I think, when you're younger, it's all consuming. You have every day of your life. You've got no responsibilities 24/7. You're just thinking about that. You're hanging out with your mates. You got, not a care in the world. You might be skint. But it doesn't matter because you've got your dreams ahead of you. Now, further down the line, after 30 years in the industry, writing so many different albums with different, in different experiences, different bands, success, failure, all of it in between. It's that you can't go back to that place. So to even want to write that sort of record is something that can be daunting, and also, luckily, I've had time this has been on a slow burner. Probably it's been ticking away on me saying, you haven't yet gone there. You haven't gone to that space. As I said, you haven't stepped between the spaces. You haven't stood in the ground between. And now that I've decided to, then all the hard work of behind the doors over the last, it might have even been before Kicking Up the Dust, I was thinking about this. It's just that I wasn't ready to do it because you can't do it. It can't not be right. Those rhythms have to be of a certain ilk. They have to be of a certain kind of bounce. They have to have a certain play. And I've got to be able to play it. It's no use me wanting to do it and being able to do it on my own, for 10 minutes and then falling off the beat or something. It's got to be right. And the songs have to work. They don't want to try too hard. If you're trying to push a square peg into a round hole because you want it to be like that. It's got to naturally fill the gaps like water. It's got to be fluid. And that's where I'm at the moment. I've got a good bunch of songs for the band that are specifically for the band. They've got a specific rhythm, a specific feeling. And I think I'm onto something there. And then after that, man, I'm just going to mosey in and do a solo album because I've got all these other great songs which are a bit more, I think doing Grounded Truth, if you haven't heard it, you have a little listen. It's on, it's on Spotify and all that. But Grounded Truth is just me and an acoustic guitar singing a classic sort of authentic folk song, but in a contemporary style. The story is traditional. It's about the fragility of liberty and the unknowing. What when you're older, experience without trying to be sort of patronising to a younger self or a younger person. And it's just a classic sort of theme. And that has kind of made me realise that, there's something to be said. A lot of people want to hear maybe my vocal stripped back with an acoustic guitar. And when I go out and do these acoustic shows, it works very well. And all the songs, even the Cast songs, the big hitters, if I play them on the acoustic, they originally were written like that, so they work like that. So it would be nice for me to just kind of bring it back a bit and give it a little bit of sort of gentleness and a bit more sensitivity in the. So there's no big production. I don't need big guns to fire. I just want to just like flicker like a flame.
Do you know what? It sounds so exciting, and it's great to hear how, excited you are about it as well. One of the other things I want to mention, Johnny, this year it would have been, it is the 25th anniversary. You should have been doing a tour of the All Change album. Now, that album, to me, was one of the most important albums in my life. It was a life-changing album, and I know it was for a lot of people as well. Did you think back then that the All Change album was going to be as important as what it still is, a quarter of a century on?
If I'm honest with you, I didn't know, obviously, where history was going, how I was going to look back on things, but I really knew that. I mean, I wrote, a good chunk of that, or a good chunk of the songs that were on there. They mightn't have been finished, but I had, say, Four Walls, Fine Time, Sandstorm, All Right, Walk Away, and they're just a handful. I had them when I was in the Lars, and when I left. They mightn't have been in their full, as I said, finished regalia, like sort of thing. But I had them, and I knew, I've just those songs I've just listed to you. They're great. I knew they were great. I knew they were going to, given the opportunity, people could hear them. I knew they were going to do something. Because you remember, I wrote them not with a new band in mind. I wrote them. I had no intentions of leaving the Lars when I was a younger kid or whatever. So when I was fiddling about with them songs, intentionally going towards a Lars album, maybe,
It's crazy to think that could have happened. It must make you really proud that 25 years on, there's still, kids 14, 15 picking guitars up that are heavily influenced by that album.
Yeah, it's a lovely thought. It is a lovely thought. I mean, you know what time's like. It's such a strange perception, It just feels like yesterday sometimes, and then other days it feels like such a long time ago. I can barely remember it. I mean, it's that sort of. I know that I used to look back and, to albums that maybe weren't so long in the history or in the past, and albums that were. What I'm saying is, inspirational records, guitar licks, the screaming, the trying to hit notes that are just out of your range and launching yourself for them. There's something about that. And, I suppose, now that you've asked the question, obviously, I'm glad that All Change and various of the songs are inspiring a younger generation. They're inspiring me still. I mean, that's the truth, I play if I played Four Walls or I play them songs, which I do on the acoustic to people and things, they're fresh as a daisy, but they're classic. They feel classic. They feel like they're of something, and that's what I intended to do. I always wanted to write songs that were of the same sort of caliber that I was listening to, and I was listening to big artists who inspired me massively, changed my life. So if Cast or John Power or anything that I'm involved with, or anything that the band have been involved with, that I've been able to pass that feeling on, or to keep that flame alive, then we're part. It's a beautiful thing. I may it go on forever. Other people get inspired and pass on that feeling in whatever guise or whatever interpretation they have, because music is one of the most beautifulest things that the human race has expressed. Singing, vibrations, oscillation, and tune and pitch in whatever form. It anyway. It's in the. It's upon the breeze. It's through the grass. It's on the ocean. The universe is ringing in tone. Everything has a vibration. Yourself and me. Molecular or electric guitar. So that is something magic. That's magic, and we don't understand that, but too well. And that's what's so sort of amazing about it. It's just a song. Something you whistle, something you lie on your own in your own thoughts, thinking about. It expresses those inner feelings or those wants or those longings or those, the lost love, the love you haven't met, the ambition, the wishes that failed, wishes to come true, all these things. It's just part of the package.
I love hearing you speak about it, and I mean, all 6 studio albums that Casted were amazing. I mean, I know I've told you this before in the past, but I'm 43, and All Change was a life-changing album for me. So the fact that 25 years on you're celebrating that, it's a great thing.
Yeah.
The tour has got moved, obviously, to next year because of the pandemic. It starts on the 13th of January in Oxford, finishes on the 6th of February in Hull. It comes to Manchester to the O2 Ritz on the 21st of January. Tickets are on sale for that now. Can't wait for that tour. Before then, though, you're about to embark on this 10-date tour. What can people expect on this particular tour?
Well, we're going in. The lads are in rehearsal at the moment. I'm going to join them tomorrow. We'll be, I mean, I haven't actually got the set list down now, but I know it'll be, a combination of all the songs that have blown your mind over the years, or not inspired you, but you felt and touched you. Maybe some more kind of recent contemporary stuff as well. None of the new stuff that hasn't been heard yet. I mean, we want to just let people enjoy themselves and celebrate the music. It'll be a bit of a warm up maybe for the shows in January, the big tour. But as I said, some of them are little festivals, kind of. It'll be a festival vibe. We'll be playing all the things that people dig and want to hear, as well as maybe some things that maybe off kicking up the dust and things like that. You know what I mean? It's going to be, as I said, it's going to be at something that we've missed and something that we're really looking forward to. And I know the audience will feel the same.
Well, going to a Cast gig is unbelievable. I think Noel Gallagher said going to a Cast gig is a religious experience, and I agree with him. It's an amazing event, a Cast gig, isn't it? It's like in your face. You know what I mean? It's just brilliant.
Yeah, there is a high energy there, and it still amazes me really, because strangely the energy seems to be getting. It's not, when I say intense, it's like, obviously, when we were younger, it seemed like we were putting more into it, but it's weird. It's like when you get to know your craft more, it's like the looser you are, the more energy you can kind of convert. And, I mean, some of the shows that we've done recently have been, as a performer, singing, I'm singing better than I've ever sung, no doubt about it. And I think the band are playing as good, better than they ever played. And that's something that, especially in this country, it kind of, the longevity of a band is something that should, is celebrated. We're celebrating our history and our presence in the moment. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, it's high energy, but also there's a sweet softness to it. So we can play the softer songs with a kind of a looseness that lets them blossom more. Like, it's not like we're punching our way through everywhere. I mean, we can do that, but we could do it with a bit more cooler. It's just a cooler vibe all around. But you'll feel the strength of that. It's like it's like a kind of ninja.
I get
Rock
it.
and roll ninjas.
I get it, and it makes total sense what you're saying. It's great to hear, and it's put a big smile on my face as well. But listen, John, good luck with everything, and cheers for taking the time out to join us today, man. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks for having me on.